Long before the raids of the communists or the creation of the horrors that hide under the snow, there was a grand nation, commanding the plains and owning the sea. From the Rio Grande to the Bering Strait, it was once the jewel of the world. However, it was the atom that set the flames burning away all we held dear and burying us in ash and snow. All that was left of this once proud nation is an old ghoul trying to stitch his mind together with ancient whiskey in the hopes of remembering what was lost. The dreams of the past haunt the snow-capped mountains with the rocket's red glare filling the dark valleys. Some still whisper of red, white, and blue, swearing that hidden beyond their own personal hell is Uncle Sam laying in wait. As the fools whisper, there are those who wear the star-spangled banner, the blue and white flag of the future, they say. The dreams of the past shall be realized or slip back into the time's hourglass by the hand of a drunken soldier clinging to his old life. Hello and welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4 Old World Blues 5.0, and today I will be starting a new playthrough as the Pioneer Company, and I will be eventually deciding if I'm going to be just like our forefathers, if I'm going to dream of liberty, or if I'm going to have a 21 gun salute. So, Average Joe, Iron Man off, AI historical focus is on, and let's go. Alright, so let me go through the basic setup that I want to do. First of all, let's have a look at our political. We have 3 national spirits. The 6th Brigade Commission gives me extra 5% attack and breakthrough. The middle mark trade relations, cap expenses plus 5%, but my infantry cost is minus 5%. And army without a nation, or army with a nation, sorry. Non-core manpower minus 2.5% and minus 5 to my stability. Decision-wise, we have this big one here, the Burning Leaf, where in 249 days a 4-way war will start between myself, Big Grass, Seth Commune, and the Lloyd's Ministry. And at the very least, I want to get to the point where I start this war by the end of this episode. So that can stay on. Bottle caps will keep the military signing bonus on. I will not be starting a scavenging program just yet. We can turn that off. I'll turn off political relations as well for now, as well as drastic measures. And I'm going to disable the backstory decisions. I'm not going to start intelligence agency because I only have 3 factories and I'm physically not being able to. We have 4 research slots to start off with. I always want to focus at least one of them, but for this I'm going to do 2 on military. So I'm going to start off with warrior training, so my division training time goes down by 5%. As for my next one, I am going to focus on, let's see which is quicker, 59 days or 71. Actually, let me get the bicycles first so I can keep my supply up. Then these last 2 are always set for first industry. Now I'm less than 1,000 manpower, so I want to do the first agricultural one for an extra 250 manpower, as well as a 15% more monthly population. And then lastly, for engineering, I'm going to start on Ohm's law for some more research speed. Now, as for my tech levels, everything is intermediate except for power armor, but I will be picking that up via the focus tree later on. Now, next, construction. Unfortunately, we have a very low infrastructure all the way around, and even though quite a few arms factories, only 3 civilian factories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with trying something new. I'm going to raise infrastructure up by 1. Then I'm going to add an even amount of arms workshops and civilian workshops. So next there will be here 2, and I'm going to carry on doing the same thing there. After that, now 20%. These 2 I'm going to be at war with. Let me do this one first, as there's more building slots in it. Add 3, and 3. That's done. And while we're at it, let's just carry on and do civilian workshop there. What do we have here? Take this up to 4. Obviously I'm also going to get boosts in resources, and I have no factories there, so let me fill that up. Same here with Nordeg. Take that up to 5. Now the reason I'm only taking it up to 5 is so if I get more infrastructure via my focus tree, I won't be wasting building time. As currently I only have 1 factory available for construction. Things are going to take quite a while, so I'm not going to bother building outposts or bunkers or anything along my border like I normally would prepare for war, because they just won't be finished in time. Production, we have 6 military factories. I'm not going to change a thing. 3 on infantry equipment, 1 each on anti-tank, dynamite and light machine guns. Quick look at our starting template here. Our militia template is a nice big chunky 13.5 width. Gotta love these unit icons that they made here. Then we have the Commonwealth National Guard. This is what I'm going to be working with in the beginning. 20 width, which is perfect with anti-tank. Then we have the Great War Veterans, only a 12 width with 5 teams. And then we have a standard Spec Op Division 10 width with no support. That's because I have researched my basic light special forces kit. So I'll get back to that in a moment. I am producing dynamite. Even though I don't have a template, I'm going to leave it just like that. And now let me set up my units. So start with 12 divisions. 7 of them are the infantry, so that will go in here, and I will pop them right there. Then the remaining 5 units I'm actually going to convert to the Ghoul template, because they cost the least amount of manpower. So let me just select them and go there, and I'll actually be gaining both manpower and infantry equipment. Fighting weaponry, that sucks, but we'll get that back up as soon as we can. Then I do want to recruit more troops, so I'm still going to go for the Great War Veterans because they cost the least amount of manpower. I'm going to do 5 units 3 times, so I can fill up at least this army, which I'll rename during the break, as fast as I possibly can. So these guys in armor group order, and let's see who our leaders are. We start with Captain Gallagher. 2 attack, 3 defense, not bad. Savage leader, that's good. And he has 2 remaining traits. Very nice. Then I only have 1 unit leader, Sergeant Michael Woods. No other trait, but he has 2 trait slots. 4 attack, 1 defense. Very good. So I've slotted him there. Let's pop these guys there. Put them onto balance cohesion. And then last but not least, let's start off the focus tree with Run Through the Snow. Years have never been kind to the soldiers in Red Deer. Plucked from their homes and thrown into the northern meat grinder, they all saw what true brutality is. And I'm going to get the event Sweet Home America. So, maximum speed, let's go. Sweet Home Americana. The son of the Florida Keys, Ray Johnson, the warm sun and full beaches highlighted the adventures him and his friends went on. Those young kids raced the sun down in the fields while gripping their Nuka-Cola. They ran so fast that day that Uncle Sam finally took notice. As the sun set on the tarmac, Johnson's fears only grew as his 5 friends rocked in their chairs, claiming they would come back heroes. The warmth of the sun was traded for the eerie hanging layer of industrial haze and mountains of snow that claimed Red Deer. They could walk down the streets. The road crumbled under the weight of their marching boots. The fear in the eyes of the Canadians haunted Johnson as they stared back at him from shadowed alleyways, or alleys. The days of occupation marked Johnson's mind as he struggles to remember the feeling of sharing their favorite Nuka-Cola one last time. It wasn't long before Red Deer was taken by the snow once more, and the thousands of troops that broke the road with him left. As Johnson recalls, it was as if the Reaper came to town and left with the souls of whoever he could find. However, Johnson thanked his lucky stars that he was passed over, remaining on airstrip duty with whoever remains of his best buddies. The smog mixed with the snow to grip their lungs, squeezing every ounce of air that was left. It was only the red and green lights at the end of the airstrip that pierced the cancer-filled air. Hour after hour, like clockwork, the planes would arrive. Machines and coffins alike would be unloaded. The line of coffins would be marched alongside the next shipment of flesh for the meat grinder. Johnson and his friends weren't always lucky. The Reaper and the Pinewood comes for all. Johnson marched on as his group of 6 became 5, then 4 as the parade of Pinewood continued down the airstrip. It wasn't all grim marches, there was more, but Johnson could barely remember what was outside that airstrip. Okay, we have either nothing more than occupation, so I will get 2 units of will be created in Deer Company, along with 500 units of basic weaponry. These 2 units are the same ghoul template, and my population will go down by 500. It's already at 0 because I'm trading so many people so quickly. Or the haze built higher as the factory sprung up, which means Red Deer and Alex will each get 1 civilian workshop and 1 infrastructure. Or Uncle Sam took whatever he could, like always, which will raise my resource production in Red Deer. Now, I'm confident I can get enough units out fast enough, and I have enough resources for now, so I'm going to go for the option to get more civilian workshops and an extra bit of infrastructure. Next focus is the graveyard train. The war sucked the life out of every able-bodied person for miles around. Anchorage took and took, giving only the Pinewood Parade in return. However, finally they sent one last gift to the broken and bitter. And I'll get the event, the 10th Circle of Hell. So the Necrophilian Battalion has been set on this line here. I'm going to start preparing an offensive line order up north with the capital of Big Grass. And basically for right now, the Death Wolf Battalion is just going to hang in here. And I might as well set also an offensive line here for them as well, so they can start training. I have put the units that are trained on to exercise until they reach regular status, so they'll keep on going. And because I now need so much more machine guns, I'm going to take 1 factory off basic weaponry and add it onto machine guns, just so I can get this amount needed for reinforcement down as fast as I possibly can. The 10th Circle of Hell. The airplanes kept coming, never late. They were never supposed to stop until one day the airstrip lay empty. The tension was high, the fear was higher, and the news from home gone. There was nothing coming in or going out. For the first time in the 4 friends gathered at night, sipping the local beer, trying to calm their nerves. Soon the view of the bar table became nothing but a blur. How Johnson got to the hill outside of the city he no longer remembers, but what he does remember were the jokes passed between him and one of his friends. His friend was Patrick. Yes, it was Pat. That was him that night on the hill. The 2 reminisced old times as the rest were back in their bunks. The warmth of the Florida sun was always missed, but for a second even out there that warmth was felt once more as pitch black night turned into a nightmare. The atomic fire gripped the two pals on that hill, tossing them and throwing them about. Johnson's flesh was ripped apart and put back together, his insides turned to iron. It was his hope of going home that kept him on that hill. As the light faded once and the bleak night returned, his eyes closed. It wasn't long after that light returned and the fear returned. His skin still burning, Johnson began to pray. However, it wasn't hellfire but flashlights. It was his friends. They came for him. Johnson lay there waiting for them as they heard their horror. The screams and sound of bile hitting the snow still rung in his ear. 5 had now become 4, as the last 3 friends carefully carried his half-alive corpse back to the medical tent. Those early days of the wasteland were spent in a hospital cot, wrapped in filled bandages as his pain receptors slowly died. Around the tent, America crumbled, and it did so did the occupation. The oppressed residents gripped their maple cocktails and rifles, rushing down whatever American soldier they could find. The headquarters was turned into one of those horror pictures as the blood and sinew ran into the streets. The month took its toll. The officers were gone, and whoever was left were running out of options. Johnson finally was able to stand once more, still covered in the field dressings, and whatever was left of his uniform met his friends. The 3 of them were fading. That memory of them huddled in their foxhole remains, but their names have slipped. Johnson, the last ranking officer as a corporal, grabbed the flag and led his friends once more, just like when they were kids chasing the sundown. What remains of them ran towards the Canadians without fear. It wasn't long before their city was black and all eyes fell upon the burnt corporal. Orders had to be given, and he was the last to give them. And he ordered factories to be opened once more, so I'll get another arms workshop and a research bonus for industry tech. Put the engineers to work helping the army, of course. 2 research bonuses for infantry technology, or he simply tried to feed the people. 1 civilian workshop and 250 manpower. Now, this arms workshop is very tempting, but right now I need the manpower more, and that civilian factory won't hurt either, so I'm going to take that option there. That 250 is going to disappear real quick. Next option I have is the someday that came. The radioactive snow drenched in the intros of our fellow brothers in arms marked our trail. Our past is far in rear view, as we must fight for our very own survival against the dirty communist hordes. And I get the event, the burden of one. The burden of one. The trench works were deep and the fields led endless. Red Deer was just the beginning for Johnson and the remnants of the Sixth Brigade. Every direction, every corner of the map was on the docket. The red banners waved all around, and their bayonets fixed and just waiting for the order. Yards had turned into miles, and the snow had run red as the crimson ghost of the past had pushed into the north. Johnson, fearless in these battles, led their charges against the horde. In the last of these fateful charges, Johnson's men faced a storm of lead and hail. The hail beat the ground as the 6th Brigade was ripped apart into 2. The hard packed snow turned into a crunchy, slurry mess of guts and lead, flooding the small trench works. The universal call for a home lost and a family atomized still follows Johnson deep into the darkness of night. It has been years since Johnson has burnt his morality. His friends, no brothers from home, have aged, but stayed with him. As the hall retreated and the brigade returned to Red Deer lick their wounds, the Pinewood Brigade took place once again. Johnson always oversaw this display. Tags punched, flags placed, and tears shed. On that balcony railing, Johnson's grip tightened as his eyes began to flood. The days of chasing that sunset had come to an end. 6 had finally become 1. For the first time since the boarding that plane, the world had grown dark for the ghoul corporal. The decades in Red Deer dragged on as Johnson buried his nightmares in the bottom of any bottle he could find. His last act as leading officer was to create the commission. It oversaw the lost decades. Each American could once again cast their vote. The factories turned on and the fields were planted by communal vote, while Johnson turned into a memory. What was left of the brigade put food on their table by selling their blood for the highest bounty. Crop failure year after year expanded this need, and they gained their infamous nickname, known for miles around. The decades had turned into centuries, and the eyes of this new world looked back at what was lost. The children heard stories of the great corporal and the nation he represented, while their fathers bled to keep them safe. Movements began, ideas fostered from the older school soldiers, now officers, to the youngest child. The endless debates of stability or liberty never let up in the commission. However, the monster that Johnson created has risen once again. A champion will be needed once again, and only that great corporal and all those legends, if only that great corporal and all those legends were still around. So we can choose either stability will cage the beast once more, which will give me some army experience, some command power, and some more popularity for the ruler party, or liberty will win the day, which will give me a little bit of base stability, 50% extra political power, and some extra popularity for the people. Now, I am quite tempted to take this army experience because it is exactly the amount I need to at least create the basic template I want, but I don't have the equipment or manpower to do that yet, so I am instead going to get the extra base stability to boost me into the 40s, and the political power won't hurt either, so liberty will win the day. Now, next choice we have is either go the commander-in-chief, the failed western homesteads, or we can choose between either the idealists or the loyalists. Now, I want to choose the failed western homesteads because over, where is it now? Yes, here I'll be able to get some more workshops and then some more infrastructure, which I want dearly. So the failed western homesteads it will be. The dreams of turning the Wild West into a functional society has been lost once and for all. The western homesteaders have lost their crops and their homes. Now they flood back into Red Deer, hoping to rebuild their lives from nothing. And I'm going to get the event Broken Hopes and Dreams. Okay, Broken Hopes and Dreams. And if any of you are wondering why my events look like this, I am using the Widened Events mod on Steam. I'll put a link to it in the description for this video, because otherwise I found these events actually just completely cover my screen vertically. So this way it's a lot more easier for me to read and then select my option. Okay, back to it. The Broken Hopes and Dreams. It was years ago now that the Commission sent out colonists to settle the Western Territories. The small settlements made up of not only the toughest of Americans and the refugees of the Canadians and the Arcadians were slated for development. Waves of pioneers marched west hoping to forge a home for themselves out of the dirt and the land of the Canadians. The years since had not been kind to these colonizers. Their crops failed and their mines quickly came up empty. Now they flee back east, crushing down like waves on the broken coast. The Commission is now overwhelmed. Their old jobs and housing were filled years ago as Red Deer's birth rate continued to climb. The city now bulges out with the people filling the streets and alleys trying to survive the snow. Captain Gallagher has taken it upon himself to solve this horrible crisis. Forming out of nothing but a vacant room and some chairs, Gallagher's new Department of the Interior starts to take shape. With the Commission overwhelmed and running out of manpower, Gallagher forces its hand to pass in its new arm of the government. Time will now tell how Gallagher will handle this crisis as Woods looks on in horror with his political moves. Yet another crisis to manage. So I'm going to get the Department of the Interior National Spirit, which takes my consumer goods down by 5%. My stability is going to go down by 2.5, so I'm going to be back to where I was. But my factory output is going to go up by 2.5, which is great, and another extra 50 political power. So that now talking about political power. Let's just get rid of these first. Okay, so I was looking at increasing my conscription law, but I'm already at the maximum without hitting into the debuff, so I'm going to keep that there. What instead I'm going to do is go for the head physician. I know I normally like to go for the golden gecko, but he gives me plus 20% to my monthly population and another 15% to my recruitable population. So that is well worth it. There's my Department of the Interior. And my next focus is going to be the ever-present haze. The factories turned out rifle after rifle. Now we must expand our operations. Red Deer has turned into the heart of industrial development. North will turn red with the rifles forged in the fires of Red Deer. So Red Deer and Innsfall are going to get workshops. Red Deer will get a civilian and Innsfall will get a arms workshop in 30 days. And let me just, since I have enough command power, let's dish up some traits now. So I'm going to be working with infantry, so mysterious stranger for the both for ghouls and infantry. Attack and defense is a must, and I'm tempted to take rooted over here, but I am getting power armor later on, so I'm not going to use that one yet. Last special forces is a no. What else would be good here? No indication I'm going to be getting any of those types of units for Animal Friend. Fire Team, Robotics, Nerd Rage. Oh, Enforcers, that could be good because I am thinking about using some Enforcers. Militia, I'm not using. You know what? Let's go for Nerd Rage because I am thinking about getting both motorized and normal enforcers before the end of this playthrough. So let's go for that. Okay, that's all his traits picked. And now we can carry on. Okay, organized agriculture is finished. I seem to be in the green finally with manpower. So I am going to choose a construction basics for the extra 5% construction speed. Now I have the option to begin a scavenging program, but instead I'm going to purchase some weapons. I need saws, but I don't have the money, so instead I'm going to buy some pipe weapons, 250 to be exact, just to help get my army ready for war. Still got the option, but I'm not going to take it. Okay, scrap bicycle is finished. Now I am going to start the first of my research into my aircraft tech. Alright, the ever-present haze is done. So now I could carry on down here, get some more infrastructure, or go down here. But instead I want to go for the Commander-in-Chief. War is coming to Red Deer and the Commission is not ready for the bloodshed. That's true. They debate endlessly about the smallest of issues. Someone must be picked to lead our forces in battle. You can't win a war through a committee. I'm going to get the event The Walking Corpse in 14 days. Okay, warrior training is finished. Now the shortest of the researches I want to do is actually militia training, which is going to give me an extra 5% defense on my front line platoons. And Ohm's law is completed, so now I'm going to start snaking around to get things done. Next one is going to be combat language. The Walking Corpse. For years the Commission had profited off the wars from the inevitable failure of the Canadian People's Front. However, the gravy train has run out, and the strongest has risen from the ashes. The so-called chairwoman, Amy Teresi, or the Big Sister, has united much of the North and is now eyeing our territory. The state of the Sixth Brigade is nothing but a sad sight compared to its glory days of Johnson's reclamation. Their arms are whatever was left. The days of standard issued anything is long gone. Now the Commission must decide on how to fix this disgrace. The small hall that houses the Commission once again lights up with debate as the two vicious sides try to negotiate. The only thing that has been agreed upon so far is the need for a champion, someone to unite and lead what's left of the Sixth Brigade against these dirty communists. The old Yankees have suggested that their very own Captain Gallagher should be this champion, and his skill will lead them to victory. On the other side of the aisle, Michael Woods and his Sons of Liberty have brought up an unorthodox candidate. They claim that the living legend Corporal Jack Johnson is the only person who could win. Using his victories as evidence, the commission, with a razor-thin majority, supported the old corporal candidacy. This second vote passed. Woods started the hunt to track down the legend himself. It didn't take him long to find his house, a run-down, dilapidated house that had seen much better days. Knocking was forgotten as every second mattered. Stepping cautiously and carefully into the house that creaked every step of the way, he entered the hallway. As he entered the hallway, a cracked voice rang out. "Stay where you are before I send you to the Almighty," Johnson said, half-slurred. Woods turned to see the ghoul Johnson the ghoul Johnson stood there in the doorway holding a glass bottle as he would a shotgun. Before Woods could respond, the living legend collapsed onto the ground face first. Without fully processing what happened, Wood took the corporal for medical attention. Now waiting for him to sober up, it might take days, the doctors commented as they passed his bedside. Let's hope he won't sleep for long. 50 extra political power. And now I am going to grab my beloved golden gecko, which is going to give me more political power, more stability, and more caps income. And now I'm not sure if I should get any traits for Gallagher right now, so I'm going to leave that. But my next focus is going to be the question of arms. The Sixth Brigade has been warring their way across Canada since before there was Yankees or communists. However, they are no longer up to fighting strength. Most of our men have just sticks and knives against the communist rifles. So I'm going to get 5% extra war support, which is going to be great. It's going to take me up to 75%, and another 25 political power. Okay, the questions of arms is done. I am going to choose, I've got two choices, either for some research bonuses for logistics or infantry weaponry, or buried treasure, and that's the one I'm going to choose because I want this 300 units of basic weaponry. Support equipment won't hurt either. When the communists invaded Anchorage, Uncle Sam filled Canada with soldiers and arms in the thousands. Most of these stockpiles were buried in sands of time, but we might be able to find a few of those crates. So let's start that. Then I'm starting to get the first of the units that I have been training. So I'm going to pop them onto the Death Wolf Battalion to guard this border against the Seth Commune. And now for what I'm going to use my political power on. And I have decided to go for the Town Defender, just to get extra division defense and some more max entrenchment, so they can help hold the line where they need to in the upcoming wars. Okay, gliders are finished researching, so now I'm going to move on to barrage balloons. I'm not going to produce either of these two, but I want to have it available so that when I do go after biplane fighter, it's already done, because it is a prerequisite. Construction basics is finished. Now let me get industry planning, just for some mainly for the production efficiency boost to the base and retention percentages. Combat language is finished, so now I want to get some decryption so I can get an intel boost when I'm attacking. Alright, that buried treasure has been very important, giving me some available firearms. So now I'm going to do the question of leadership. Commanders are needed, leaders are in short supply, and our troops run aimlessly. We need to promote and train whoever we can to fill in the gaps before the communists kick our teeth in. The question is, which side should we favor in this fight? So I'm going to get 20 army experience and 20 command power, and then I'm going to have to make the choice of which leaders I actually want to pursue. Another unit has been completed to guard this border with South Communes. Now it's an even 7-7. And that's reference manual completed. So now I'm going to get secret language so that I gain some encryption to stop my enemies getting an intel advantage on me. Alright, now the question of leadership has come up. So I have two choices. They're basically exactly the same to me. What I can't understand why corporals are becoming unit commanders and sergeants are becoming unit leaders, but never mind. I have decided to go with the Liberty Guard, mainly because change in popularity for people is going to go up by 2.5%. The Sons of Liberty have become the bedrock of our army. It seems that almost every soldier follows Michael Woods and his idealism. So why not promote some of their own? Let's start that. The reason I'm going after Michael Woods is because he's the one that found Johnson in his old rundown hut, and he leads the Son of Liberty party. And Johnson's really starting to grow on me, so let me just help out Michael Woods there a little bit. That's Barrage Balloons completed, so I'm actually going to carry on with motorized flight just so I can be ready to do the biplanes and triplane attackers when the time comes right. That's 182 days. Now I do have enough army experience to make at least the basic template that I want, so I am going to choose this Commonwealth National Guard one, and I'm going to duplicate it, and it shall be named the Commonwealth Infantry, because that is what I want to call them. Infantry. I'm going to change their symbol to the good old M16, because I reckon I'm going to be using ballistic weapons for this playthrough, that I'm not 100% sure. Unfortunately, there's no unique unit names here. And then what I want to do is actually remove the anti-tank and add in the combined arms platoon here. Now, the reason I have decided to do this, because if you watched me before, I do like having my support anti-tank for the extra piercing, is because in this playthrough I want to answer the question that has come up quite a lot, and that is, does the perks that you get from the focus tree and your research affect the combined arms platoon? So I'm going to be taking a series of screenshots of this, and as I upgrade my equipment and get more focuses, I'll be taking more screenshots throughout the playthrough to actually compare how things go. But already you can see that my soft attack is going up, my breakthrough is going up, which is brilliant, piercing as well. Unfortunately, my organization is going down, but it's still well above 40, so I'm happy with that. So I'm going to save this template. I am not going to start training them just yet, but I will in the very near future. Okay, industry planning is finished. Now I've been using up a lot of the manpower I've been gaining with my new units, so I want to do seed selection. It's going to give me extra 500 manpower and another boost to my monthly population. And then I have 104 political power. So now I actually want to grab the... Let's go for the Khan mercenary so I can get my training time down by 10%. And the recovery rate and army experience gain is good as well. Secret language is finished, and now I want to get the smoke signals research done. Okay, the Liberty Guard is completed, so now I'm going to go for holding the Red Horde. Seth Commune and the other leftover states are gearing up to rip us limb from limb. We must convert our economy and nation into total war preparation. Every scrap piece of metal, drop of water, and joule of electricity must be turned towards the war effort. So I'm going to add war preparation, which will give me extra 5% recruitable population. Don't like losing another 2.5% of my stability, but I'm going to get a little bit of caps income, which I haven't used much, and some more resources. Now I have 35 days until the war kicks off. And now let me see what we've got here. So let's go for, his defense is nice and high and I need that. Gunslinger, brilliant. Commando, good as well. So I'm going to go for Sergeant Daniel Runner Edwards. He will lead the Death Wolf Battalion. Now defense here. Let me pop some traits on him. Luckily I can still get Mysterious Stranger, and that's him filled up. Okay, very nice. Okay, holding the Red Horde is completed. So it's 5 days away until I go to war. There's a couple of things I want to do. Firstly, I'm going to stop training all my troops. I was able to get 5 additional units, which means I actually have 1 per tile. I wanted more, but I'll take what I can get. At least each tile is covered in the defense against Sath Commune over here. Then I am on 0 manpower, so I am decided I am going to cancel this, or should I no, I want to cancel this line here. The reason I'm not deploying these guys is they are still short on a lot of equipment, so I'd rather get the manpower back and then start training a unit of my Commonwealth infantry. They will deploy here at Red Deer. See, I've gone up to 312 already, and these guys are basically already fully kitted out with equipment. And I'm actually going to convert, let's just convert at least the 5th expedition here to that template as well, because I'm going to gain some infantry equipment, which will be good for my people. I wonder if I should actually do some more. So 35 available, that's 7, and actually gain, man, let me actually do if I can do all 7, because that would be brilliant. Convert all 7. Okay, 35, 35, so that is perfectly on the dot. I will gain demolition equipment, gain more manpower and infantry equipment. I am doing that, yes. Then for my production, I just want to take 1 factory off here and add it back onto my basic weaponry to get that back up, and I think I'm actually going to leave it there. So in the next episode, the war, what's it called again, the Burning Leaf will kick off, and we'll start that war, see if I've prepared enough. If you want to watch more of this playthrough as it commences, please consider subscribing to my channel, and if you'd like to support me further, consider joining the FSG club and enjoy the benefits that come with it. For example, the VIP members will get this video available to watch as soon as it comes out, rather than on my release schedule. But otherwise, as always, thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.